Hi guys, this is Vitaly with AFT Dispatch and A2C Logistics, and in today's video, I'd like to speak with you about the longest and deepest recession that we're currently in, but also cover a potential recovery timeline. First, roll the intro. Welcome back. Before we get started, I'd like to ask you to please like the video, be sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a single release of our videos, where every Friday we're talking about something that could benefit you in your trucking businesses, in your trucking careers, as well as cover the loads we've successfully booked for our customers, consisting of leased owner operators and carriers operating under their own MC authorities, running under our truck dispatch services. As always, guys, big thank you for all the likes you've provided in all the previous videos. Please do keep them coming. Let's talk about this current trucking recession, freight recession that we got going on. It is certainly the longest and deepest recession we've had up to this point. And in fact, this recession has been so severe and so long-standing that it has actually surpassed the COVID-induced bull market that so many of us have benefited from and that are now paying the price for, well, the crazy low freight rates that we've seen for several years now. Now, the reason I wanted to jump into this is because we've been talking about improvements in the market. Now, whether you believe that or not, whether you see that in your bottom line or not is a different story. However, in January's videos and February and even March videos, we've looked at different signals. We looked at the LMI, we've looked at volume, we looked at freight tonnage and things like that. And we've talked about how we're coming out of the freight recession. Now, a lot of you guys disagreed with that, but the numbers certainly speak otherwise. Things are improving. You just have to zoom out a little bit. Now, what FreightWaves did is they made a very strong prediction. And the reason that you and I should possibly pay attention to what FreightWaves is saying, what their analysts are saying, what some of the guys that are working there are saying, is because FreightWaves actually predicted the freight recession all the way back in March of 2022. They were ahead of the times. And the reason for it is because they have a ton of data, very large data sets. They have they have data to analyze and they know how to read this data. They have different signals through sonar, different indicators that they're able to track over time and to basically analyze and look for trends and changes. And now what they're saying at this point is that they're seeing signs of recovery beginning to emerge. So very good for everybody in the trucking industry. We know everyone's really been struggling, and these are all telltale signs of improvement. Now, speaking of these improvements, look at the outbound tender rejection index. This is another signal that they follow. We've talked about it ad nauseum in different videos over the last several years, but basically they're seeing year-over-year market conditions improving, and that's something that will certainly take. Furthermore, contract load volumes have seen an increase of, volumes are up 9% year over year. Again, you have to look at the data. You may not see that directly correlated into the freight rates that you're getting from the spot market, but that could be related to something else, like, for example, poor performance in being able to negotiate those rates, or poor planning of your freight, poor understanding of the freight market. So you're basically leaving good areas, going to bad areas for low rates. You're missing the warming up of different markets and different opportunities as they open up. Overall, that will always drive your rates down. Now, what we're also seeing at this point is a balancing of the market. So despite the actual gap that we saw from peak volumes compared to the peak volumes that we saw in the market is gradually balancing, and the economic growth prediction that they're looking at now is that if the Atlanta Federal Reserve is correct and they're forecasting a 3% year-over-year GDP growth, or our gross domestic product, which generally drives the potential availability of freight and freight demand, then we should see indication of potential increases in freight demand, which would benefit everyone involved, at least those of you watching these videos. Now, guys, What we're also seeing is declines in capacity. We've talked about this in previous videos, but ultimately capacity in the market has been declining going back since late 2022. It continues to decline. The pace of these declines, the pace of exits out of the industry are increasing, and these things are all contributing to market equilibrium. Finally, we all know that you guys, many of the folks that we talk to, YouTube's full of these videos. There's a lot of stories on the internet. Trucking companies, truckers, owner-operators are operating at a loss, and for a very, very long time. Trucking fleets are really suffering, and although they are facing losses based on this kind of potential recovery timeline that we've come up with, that really comes from a lot of the data that's already out there, but this is based on what the guys at FreightWaves who are using the sonar software are seeing based on the trend lines that they're setting, is that based on the current trends, based on the current forecasts of recovery in the balance of supply and demand is anticipated by fall of 2024, with a more certain recovery expected by spring of 2025. Now, what do you guys think about that? Does that sound reasonable? Does that sound like that might actually be happening? Are we going in that direction? Are you seeing something totally different? Please let us know in the comment section below. If you haven't done so, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. I'm gonna switch over the camera. I'm gonna look over loads we book for our customers, and I'll see you guys in just a moment. Welcome back. Let's take a look at some of these loads. Guys, this week we have a full gamut of different types of equipment, from vans, reefers, as well as flatbeds. Everyone did quite well. We're gonna go ahead and start off with Brian in his regular dry van coming out of Houston, Texas, going to Bell Buckle, Tennessee. Super light load, only 8,000 pounds of brass products for bullets and other types of projectiles. 832 miles loaded, booked at $2,200, got him an easy $264 per loaded mile. Then out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, took a load to Fort Smith, Arkansas, a 40,000 pound load of boxes, 526 loaded miles, booked at $950, got him $181 coming out to Arkansas. And then at a Fort Smith, Arkansas, zero deadhead, took a load to Lakeland, Florida, did a great job, 39,000 pounds of food products, 1,087 loaded miles, booked at $3,000, got him an easy $276 loaded mile. Now, what's cool here is that Brian ran for 6 days, Friday to Thursday, ended up grossing $6,150 in gross, ran 2,445 loaded miles, did all of that at $252 a loaded mile. And here's the kicker, only 20 miles of deadhead in total for the entire 6-day period. Excellent job, Brian. You did a wonderful, wonderful job. Excellent rate, great gross, and very light freight on your first part of the leg there. So excellent job, Brian. Way to go, sir. Next, we believe it's a flatbed. Yes, next we have Patrick in a flatbed. It's Jewett, Texas, coming out to Edwardsville, Kansas. It's a 30,000 pound light load of gang boxes, job site equipment. 658 loaded miles, booked at $1,900, got him $289 a loaded mile for a very light load for flatbed freight. Now Lenexa, Kansas, coming out to Syracuse, Kansas, a quick run there, 44.7 on the weight, load of animal supplements and totes, 423 loaded miles, booked at $1,650, got him $390 a loaded mile. Then Garden City, Kansas, coming out to Springfield, Missouri. It's a 2,300 pound load, super light load, especially for any type of equipment. It's only 7 pieces of PVC piping, 451 loaded miles, booked at $1,200, got him $266 a loaded mile. They finished off real strong, coming out of Mountain Grove, Missouri, going to Markham, Virginia. Another light load, 16,000 pounds of fiber cable, so fiber optic cable, 942 loaded miles, booked at $2,400, got him $255 a loaded mile, coming out to Virginia. An excellent job, 7 days on the road, Friday to Friday, grossed $71.50 in 7 days, ran 2,474 loaded miles, and ran those loaded at $289 per loaded mile, and only had 130 deadhead miles in total for a week with a ton of miles. So an excellent job for Patrick, and a lot of light freight. Moving on to Milagres with his reefer, coming out of Esola, Mississippi, going to Forest Park, Georgia, with a 40,000 pound load of fish. Temperature was set at 25 to 28 degrees on a reefer, 416 loaded miles, booked at $1,200, got him an easy $288 a loaded mile. Now Lithia Springs, Georgia, one pick, one drop to Tampa, Florida. It's a 43.5 load of food and beverages, PepsiCo products. It was a dry load, so the reefer did stay off on this one. 473 loaded miles, booked at $1,300, got him $275 a loaded mile, and the reefer stayed off. Then he did a tough one pick, 10 dropper out of Avon Park, Florida. 10 drops, It's going to be Alpharetta, Georgia, Douglasville, Georgia, Leeds, Alabama, 2 drops in Madison, Alabama, Gallatin, Tennessee, Brownsville, Kentucky, Racine, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, and a final in Hamburg, New York. So finalized in New York. It's a light load all the way through 14,000 pounds of floral plants. Temperature was 65 degrees on this one. The load just kept getting lighter with the drops. 1,801 loaded miles, booked that at $4,000, got them 222 a loaded mile on a very light load, in and out very quick. They finished off out of Dunkirk, New York, going to York, Pennsylvania with a 41,000 pound load of grocery items. Temperature controlled, -20 continuous on a reefer, 285 loaded miles, booked at 1135, got them an awesome 398 a loaded mile coming out to PA. Short miles, but very, very good money, even despite the -20 continuous. So all in all, Milagres did a great job. $7,635 grossed in a week. Wednesday to Wednesday, ran 2,975 loaded miles at an average of 257 per loaded mile average. An excellent rate, some really good freight. Definitely a good hustle for everyone involved. Next, we got Jesse in his drive end. Totally different approach. Gardena, California, going to Houston, Texas. A long, long run. Very light freight. 20,000 pounds of barricade carts on wheels, 1,554 loaded miles, booked at $3,900. Got him 251 a loaded mile. Then right out of Houston, Zero Deadhead coming out to Plentywood, Montana. Another light load, another longer run, 23,000 pounds of empty bags for grain. 1,635 loaded miles, booked at $3,540. Got him 217 a loaded mile to get out of there. Come out to Montana. And 7 days on the road on this one, that was it. So Jesse ran his drive end Monday to Monday, grossed $7,440 in his regular gross, ran a ton of miles, 3,189 loaded miles to be exact, and ran all that at 233 per loaded mile average. A fantastic growth for this drive end. 7 days work on the road, very, very efficient. Excellent job, Jesse. Next, it looks like, let's take a look. It looks like David coming out with his drive end, coming out of, it looks like a 2-pick-1 dropper out of Hoopeston, Illinois, and Indianapolis, Indiana, going to Hinckley, Ohio. It's a 37,000 pound load of dry goods, only 16 pallets in a trailer, 408 loaded miles, booked at 1,075, got them 263 a loaded mile. Then Medina, Ohio, or Medina, Austin, Indiana, is the drop. It's a very light load, 4,578 pounds of plastic bottles, 314 loaded miles, booked at 675, got them 215 a loaded mile. Now the next load was supposed to come out of Austin, Zero Deadhead, Austin, Indiana, going to Dallas, Texas. Ended up being a truck order not used. We collected $250 for this Tonu. So the next load was picked up out of Jeffersonville, Indiana, going to Berks, Kansas with a 44,000 pound load of food grade oil in totes. 630 loaded miles, booked at 1475, got them 234 a loaded mile. Next, St. Joseph, Missouri to South St. Paul, Minnesota. It's a 33,000 pound load of chemical products. It was a non-hazmat load, but quite light, so that's good. 421 loaded miles, booked at $1,100, got them 261 a loaded mile. Then Owatonna, Minnesota, going to Gering, Nebraska. Heavier load, 45,000 pounds of palletized pet food, but only 684 loaded miles, booked at $1,700, made it worthwhile at $249 a loaded mile. They finished off out of Sydney, Nebraska, coming out to Denver, Colorado. It's a light load, 20,000 pounds of textiles, only 168 loaded miles on that one, booked at $600, got them $357 a loaded mile to finish off the week. David killed it. 7 days on the road, Friday to Friday, ended up grossing $6,875. Around 2,625 loaded miles at an average of 262 a loaded mile in this market. Basically 262 loaded deadhead miles in total here. So we got a very good week for this drive end, an excellent rate no matter how you cut it. So great job, David. Way to go. Next, it looks like, let's find the right guy here. It looks like Tariq, again, making the top of the loads here with a real tough one. Coming out in his drive-in out of Newark, New Jersey, doing a 14 dropper. Super light load, but the drops are in Cedar Lake, Indiana, Pontiac, Illinois, Galesburg, Illinois, Kelowna, Iowa, Marshalltown, Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa, and then Adel, Iowa. Also Lincoln, Nebraska, Columbus, Nebraska, Lamar's, Iowa, 3 drops in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and a final in Rapid City, South Dakota. So 1 pick, 14 drops, 16,000 pounds in total weight. Like again, you know, getting lighter and lighter with every drop. It was a load of furniture, wooden cabinets. Driver assist was required on this one, but Tariq's one of those guys who can definitely handle it all. Straps and load bars were also required. He had that on board, so that worked out. But here are the numbers: 2,050 loaded miles with freight that's getting lighter and lighter. $4,600 booked, got him 224 a loaded mile. Finished off of South Dakota, ended up deadheading out to Wyoming. Ended up taking a load out of Colony, Wyoming, going to Greensboro, North Carolina, with a 43,000 pound load of clay. 1,715 loaded miles booked. That one at 3,000 bucks, got him $1.75 a loaded mile on that one. All in all, Tariq ran for a week, 7 days on the road, Monday to Monday, $7,600 in gross, 3,765 loaded miles. Ran that at 202 a loaded mile, and only had 75 deadhead miles in total. So an excellent job there. Awesome gross for Tariq, and very, very efficient. Very good gross. Excellent job, sir. Welcome back, and thanks for sticking around to the end. Guys, as you can see, the rates are there, the gross is there, the miles are there. Our dispatchers have been doing this for weeks, months, and years with no ends in sight. We have a ton of customers who've benefited from this, who've expanded their fleet, so we're able to keep their head above water and are going to remain in business so that when a market finally changes in the right direction, they're going to be still in business and will be able to take advantage of the freight market and the freight rates that will be available at that time. That time is coming, but you want to make sure that you're still in business when that time does arrive. So if you're a carrier, you have your own MC authority, you have the willingness to work, you have the equipment, you have an aged MC, and you're just not seeing this type of money, you owe it to yourself to get in touch with us. It's super simple. Call or text it at 801-448-6363 or go to our website at aftdispatch.com and simply fill out if you're a carrier or a leased on owner operator. And for leased on owner operators, even if you're making this type of money, which I highly doubt, the truth of the matter is, from what we've seen, the vast majority of the lease on outfits that are out there, they charge for bells and whistles, things that you never use, but they do charge for that, and you end up paying for it. So why not get with a company that has low operating costs and a high gross potential? That way you're getting the best of both worlds. Like I said, we do this for carriers with their own MC authority as well as leased on owner operators, but it's going to be on you to get in touch and get a hold of us, get the information that you require. 801-448-6363. Call or text that number or go to our website at aftdispatch.com. And like I said, just fill out if you're a carrier or a lease on owner operator. We'll get in touch with you and answer all your questions. Until next week, guys, stay healthy, be wealthy. Take care.